Climate change has always been a problem, but lately, it feels like everywhere you look,
Heat waves that have hit large areas of Europe, the United States, and parts of Asia. Well, now, leading scientists have told the BBC they're concerned by the recent run of new climate records being set, saying the speed and timing of them is unprecedented.
Human activities are responsible for climate change. That's the
More than expected last year. The agency blamed an unusual amount of ocean warming combined with water from melting glaciers. 2024 was the hottest year on record.
Nearly half the planet's population is highly vulnerable to climate change. That's according to a landmark United Nations report released Monday. Scientists
put the weather machine on 7. We are all about to die. The disasters are as follows.
what is climate change really? At first, long-term changes in temperatures and weather patterns all over the world. And no, it's not just one freakishly hot summer or weird rain. Well, some of the changes can happen naturally, like after a massive volcano eruption or the sun decides to switch up. Scientists agree that since the 1800s, humans have taken the wheel. The biggest reasons: burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. We burn them to drive our cars, heat our homes, watch TikTok, and every time we do, we release greenhouse gases into the air. Especially carbon dioxide and methane create a giant blanket around the earth. Think it's this cozy? Not really. It's like wearing a hoodie, sweatpants, and socks while you're sleeping during the summer. It's more like global overheating. This warming doesn't just mean sweating through your shirt in May. It's causing stronger hurricanes, longer droughts, more brutal heat waves, and sea levels that won't just stop crashing up. It's not just about the fuel burning. Cutting down forests releases more carbon and farming, especially livestock, which cranks out a bunch of methane. In fact, the biggest contributors to greenhouse gases today are energy, industry, transport, buildings, farming, and how we use the land. Basically, most of the stuff we actually rely on. What makes this more alarming is the speed of what's happening. Scientists are basically saying, yeah, we never seen the planet heat up this fast before. And spoiler, it's our human fault. Understanding what climate change actually is helps explain why it's not just about the planet. It's also about how people are feeling. Basically, when you realize how fast it's all happening, it's not the hardest thought worrying about the future. Alright, so now that we covered what climate change actually is, let's get into the real beef of the video here. You've probably heard of the term floating around online, maybe in class or on social media, let's be honest here, TikTok, Instagram, or even in casual conversation. But what exactly is climate anxiety? It's not just about worrying if it's going to rain tomorrow. Climate anxiety is also called eco-anxiety. It is a deeper, ongoing fear about the future of our planet because of climate change. It could show up as sadness, anger, helplessness, or even guilt. It could come in forms of, what did we do to even get here? Or what could I do about it? Or, oh my god, I don't even care. But be honest, have you ever scrolled past a video of wildfire melting glacier and you just felt something inside of you where you kind of wanted to take action? Or maybe you had that sinking feeling where somebody says, we only have 10 years left. Yeah, that's climate anxiety. It's real and it's affecting more young people than you might think. According to the American Physiological Association 2020 to 21 survey, over 2/3, that's 68% of U.S. adults said they feel some level of eco-anxiety. And nearly half of young adults aged 18 to 34 said climate change is already causing stress in their daily lives. So it's not just a passing worry for many. It's a constant background noise. If you're a Zoomer or Gen Z like me, growing up today, especially spent a lot of time on TikTok or any other social media forums, chances are you probably felt climate anxiety without even knowing the term. It's that mix of dread and frustration we've been talking about that hits when you see another news story about rising temperature or, for example, like the LA wildfires. You didn't cause the crisis, but somehow it feels like you're the problem. Climate anxiety has become a near normal experience for many young adults. Clinical psychologist Cyril Lowe explains that this isn't just everyday stress or worry. It's deeper than that. It includes intrusive thoughts about the future of the planet, fear for your own safety, and that the future for our generations are being cooked. Even physical symptoms like trouble sleeping or increased heart rate. While caring about the environment can be a good motivator, it becomes overwhelming when it starts affecting our daily lives. And that's why platforms like TikTok became more than places to find the latest trend or shop online. They're spaces where young people could talk, sometimes indirectly, about how they really feel about the world they're inheriting. In fact, a 2018 article titled Exploring Youth Activism on Climate Change, Doubtful, Disruptive, and Dangerous Dissent by Karen O'Brien, Ellen Selbo, and Bowen Hayward breaks down how youth are responding to their crisis in different ways. They describe 3 types of activism. The first is doubtful dissent, when young people work within the system, like joining environmental groups, attending climate summits, or voting. Then there's disruptive dissent, which pushes further protests, school strikes, and boycotts. Finally, there's dangerous dissent, which is the most radical. This is when the youth not only resist, but also imagine and create entirely new systems, advocating for ideas like degrowth or building sustainable communities outside mainstream structures. So my experience with climate change here in Washington is maybe a little different than a lot of other people, but if you live in Washington, you probably know about a spot called Lake Chelan. Shout out if you've been there, or at least you heard of it. It's one of those classic summer spots most people have headed down to, when the sun came out, because let's be honest here, when you're in Washington, you don't get a lot of it. Growing up here, I always look forward to going to Lake Chelan in the summer. One summer after the other, we'd go jet skiing, we'd go swimming, or we'd go on the boat. But suddenly I started noticing a lot more fire warnings and a lot more wildfire warnings. And one day I finally found, when I woke up, the sky was orange-gray color. The air got thick, you could smell smoke everywhere. And then out of nowhere, little bits of ash started to fall down from the sky. At first, I thought someone was burning wood nearby, or some kids my age were messing around and started a fire. But I was wrong. This is coming from wildfire that started not too far away. Now, I wasn't in danger and I didn't die, obviously. But watching the sky around me literally turn smoky and gray made me realize climate change isn't just happening somewhere else. It's literally affecting me right here, right now. Now, at the time, I didn't know it, but I would literally wake up seeing all the cars covered with ash, and it almost made it hard to breathe in. It's not like I woke up one day and became a full-on climate activist. That's not what I'm saying here. But moments like that definitely made me think harder about what's going on with our planet and how this is affecting my life. Not that it's just in the distant future. And I'm not the only one who feels like this. A lot of people I talk to here in Washington see the devastating effects of wildfires. Whether it's fire evacuations, canceled trips, or just general fear that summers are going to get hotter and more dangerous every year. Now again, we live in Washington, so that doesn't really mean much. Climate change doesn't always show up as a dramatic headline hurricane. Sometimes it shows as a slow creep, hotter days, drier forests, and in my case, ash falling from the sky while you're trying to enjoy a sandwich by the lake. I'm going to show a clip of some people that have been affected by Lake Chelan fire, but keep in mind, I wasn't here during the recent fires, but this has always been a resurfacing issue with Lake Chelan with the wildfires.
County.
Yeah, it's just been stressful knowing that the fire's headed our way. And
Chelsea Courtney lives in Stehekin. She tells me the fire is about a half a mile from her home. She's working with her family to protect their property.
all of our livelihood is here. It's not just our houses, it's how we make a living.
Working hard to prepare our own properties to be ready for this fire if it came through.
Krissa Jester has been posting daily updates about the firefighting efforts to keep her community informed. She tells me the Stehekin community is also helping fire crews who don't know the area.
With food and lodging or camp.
However, the official order is for the people of Stehekin to get out now.
Those folks, are they at risk?
The folks in Stehekin? Yes, that's why the community is under a level 3 evacuation right now.
Jester tells me she's taking it day by day.
If the time comes, I will leave. I'm not willing to put anyone at risk for my safety. I'm not willing to put any of those firefighters' lives at risk because I'm still here.
So this little clip shows how these people are actually being affected on a day-to-day basis. This clip was about 11 months ago. I know Lake Chelan fires have been going on for a while now. I haven't been too up to speed, but I've checked, and it has been recently happening, especially during the hot summers. But yeah, just goes to show that these people's lives and businesses and how they actually live are being threatened due to climate change. It's kind of worrying to see, but to remember that we need to take a step forward and that we can't just keep dwelling on the past. We need to start making changes. You can start by saving energy by turning off your lights, unplugging your devices, eating less meat, waste less food, drive less, try to walk more. I know I really fall into that category because I drive a lot. Try to carpool, switch to more renewable energy, insulate your home. There's a lot of things a lot of people can do. Everybody should go research on their own, try to find out more about this topic, because this is the earth we live in. We want to make sure our future generations are protected. But you may be asking, what do these wildfires I saw in Lakeland have to do with climate anxiety? Like, why does it actually matter towards our emotions? Well, it's not just about watching the sky turn orange or breathing smoky air. It's about realizing that this isn't just one time happening. It's happening more often. You know that and I know that. It changes how we feel about the future. The more we learn about climate change through news, documentaries, or even our own experiences, the more overwhelming it gets. And the weird part is, the more we know, the less we act. A lot of environmental messaging can also feel heavy-handed, doom and gloom, guilt-trippy, or overly serious. That's why some environmentalists end up being seen as killjoys, also telling us what we're doing wrong without offering a way forward that feels real or relatable. This is where something called bad environmentalism comes into play. A term from a scholar, Nicole Seymour, who wrote a book exploring how some artists, comedians, and creators are responding to climate anxiety a completely different way. Instead of preaching or making people feel guilty, they use absurdity, irony, and even silliness to talk about serious issues, such as climate change. Think of it like making a joke about the apocalypse. This is not actually funny, but laughing always feels better than crying. Seymour looks at all kinds of media, from YouTube videos to stand-up comedy movies and even obscure performances art, and shows how these so-called bad forms of environmentalism actually make people think in a new way. They actually challenge the idea that caring about the planet has to look one specific way, serious or scientific. She argues that these playful, ironic, or even offensive approaches can also expose the blind spots of traditional environmentalism, like how it often centers white voices, middle-class values, or scientific authority. In simpler terms, sometimes the best way to get people to care is by breaking the rules of how we're supposed to talk about climate change. So if you ever laughed about a meme about the end of the world, or you rolled your eyes at overwhelming dramatic climate posts, you're not alone. And according to Seymour, that reaction might actually be part of a bigger, more creative movement to face a crisis in a way that doesn't totally crush our spirits. Enter 100 men versus one gorilla.
Tomorrow. They're relentless. There's too many of them. Apparently I'm fighting 100 men tomorrow. I'm kind of nervous, so I bought these Zins to keep me calm. I don't think I'll win this one chat, but the first 5 to 10 of them are finna end up on a t-shirt for real. Holy shit. They're a lot tougher than I was fucking expecting. We've agreed to continue the fight tomorrow. I don't know how many are left, but I know I'm gonna need some sleep.
Thank God. It's finally time for bed.
If you've been anywhere near TikTok in the past year, you've probably seen the 100 men versus one gorilla chat. It's pretty funny. For those who've missed it somehow, here's how it goes. A bunch of guys line up, one after the other, and they start sprinting towards the gorilla, one by one. And suddenly, bam, the gorilla roars, slams the ground, and slaps the humans across. From the start, people online thought this was going to be the absolute slaughter. Like, picture it. There's one massive silverback gorilla just tearing through each guy one by one. No mercy. The first dude is cooked, second dude is getting cooked, third dude, who knows. And honestly, watching it unfold feels both ridiculous and oddly suspenseful. Just like we're all waiting to see humanity if it has a shot or not against this gorilla. But here's where things get interesting. At this point, the 100 men versus one gorilla trend was everywhere. It started as a joke, just another Brainrot moment on TikTok, but before you knew it, people were obsessing over it. It got so big that people weren't just laughing and sharing clips anymore. They were actually asking the question, who was actually going to win this? Could this actually happen? Soon enough, the conversation spilled off social media and started going to places such as news places and sports shows. People started asking the scientists for their opinions, and some biologists and animal behaviorists actually responded.
Yeah, I know this is a weird conversation, and I want to say that this is a dumb conversation, and I'm hoping we can talk about way more pressing matters in a second. But can you just settle this for us real quick? Like if 100 normal, unarmed guys got into a fight with one gorilla, how would it go?
Well, it's a very interesting question, and it's been super fun to see how much it has engaged people on the internet. I talk about gorillas all day long, so I love that other people are talking about them as well. I don't think there's a definitive answer, but I have to say that I would be on the side of the humans in this case. Gorillas come to this with, a ton of power, all that upper body strength. You can see them here kind of just smashing people right and left. They've got incredible jaw strength. But I think the sheer number of humans that they would be up against and the fact that humans could hopefully coordinate their behavior, tag team, take a little bit of a rest while the gorilla would just be going full steam the whole time would really put the advantage in for the humans.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that we can all communicate and I guess kind of critically think would give the advantage to the humans. And also, like, if I was in that fight and I was one of those guys and I saw somebody get mauled, I would probably run the other way, which would give the advantage to the gorilla there. But jokes aside, like, I don't know, we have fun thinking about this, or guys do for some reason. And yet the saddest part of all this,
when you really think about it, this trend isn't just bringing content. I mean, it is. But it also kind of mirrors how a lot of young people feel about climate change. Think about it like this. The gorilla represents something extremely powerful, unstoppable, and terrifying. Like rising temperatures, extreme weather, irreversible damage. And the 100 men, that's us, society, communities, and governments. We got numbers, knowledge, and tools on our side, if we choose to use them. Now here's the thing. If all 100 men stepped together, communicated, and actually worked as a team, they'd probably have a shot at taking down the gorilla, or at least avoiding getting wrecked one by one. It's kind of like what we need to do with climate change. If we come together globally, use science, policy, and innovation, and we all stand together on everyday actions like reducing waste and supporting clean energy, we can maybe slow these problems down. Maybe even turn things around, who knows? But here's the problem. A lot of people see it as a lost cause. For example, if you scroll a TikTok comment section, it'll be like, oh my God, we're cooked. We'll never win that. Guy number 1 is cooked. We better hope guy number 99 has a chance. They'd be like, what's the point? And when you really think like that, you stop trying. You stop making changes in your life. You stop pushing for leaders to act. And honestly, I get it. The news can feel bleak. The gorilla seems really strong. Politicians argue while forest burns and ice caps melt, and that gorilla's still hitting guys one by one. It's easy to feel like we're sprinting toward the camera while the gorilla roars in our face. But the truth is, unlike in the trend, where guys go in one at a time, we don't have to fight this alone. We're together. We can work together, we can organize together, we can demand better for those in power, and make smarter choices in our lives.